Hello! In this series I'm going to be playing through the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind with 100% faction completion, with a variety of constraints that will make the game significantly harder. I define 100% faction completion as completing the main quest. There's a variety of ways that can be done, any of them are valid, as well as reaching the Grandmaster rank for 8 factions, which is the highest possible number. So that is one of the 3 great houses, the 3 guilds, Imperial Legion, Imperial Cult, Morrowind, and Tribunal Temple. The constraints that we're using to make the game harder is we're going to do the entire game at character level 1, which has 2 reasons that it makes the game harder. First is obviously your stats are going to be much lower. Also, it means that after a certain point, you're not going to be allowed to rest. So managing health and magicka reserves will become significantly more difficult. Next constraint is no custom anything. No custom spells, no custom potions, no custom enchantments. You're allowed to use whatever the game gives you, but you can't make anything yourself. The reason this makes the game harder is because, particularly with alchemy, super potions is a particular technique that allows the player to make ridiculously strong potions very quickly, and either use them to just blast through opponents or sell them for huge amounts of gold. And the same is basically true of enchantment. You can make broken enchantments very easily, things that can kill opponents in one hit, stuff like that. And then the last constraint is no trainers. We're only going to increase skills by using them organically. Using trainers reduces a significant amount of risk in the game, because instead of going through combat or trying to pick locks or trying to use persuasion or anything like that, you just pay money and you're guaranteed to have the skill increase. So that is our goal. Let's go ahead and get started.
Stand up. There you go. You were dreaming. What's your name? Well, not even last night's storm could wake you. I heard them say we reached Morrowind. I'm sure they'll let us go. Quiet. Here comes the guard.
This is where you get off. Come with me. This is where they want you. Head down to the dock. You finally arrived. Our records.
So, without going into too much detail right now, I'm just going to be selecting a male Breton as the starting character.
Great. I'm sure you'll fit right in. Follow me up to the office and they'll finish your release.
I'll explain why that's going to be relevant once we get in here.
Yes, we've been expecting you. You'll have to be recorded before you're officially released. There are a few ways we can do this, and the choice is yours.
I'm going to create a custom class. So, one of the big constraints when you're making your character in a run like this is that in order to advance to the Grandmaster rank of any guild, or any faction rather, you need to have favored attributes at 35 or higher. But the way that character creation works is regardless of what race and gender you start with, you're guaranteed to have 3 attributes that start at 30. Or I think 2 at 30 and then the rest at 40. So you need to use your favorite attributes and your birth sign in order to boost everything up to at least 35. So with that in mind, I'm going to make agility and endurance my favorite attributes. This also will increase my starting health pool. Specialization will be combat, which will just make combat a lot easier because it's going to be hard to hit enemies at first. Major skills. The 3 big ones are enchant, blunt weapon, light armor. The reason that I'm choosing these three is if you make a list of all of the favored skills for each faction, you're going to want to try to find a set of 3 or 4 or 5 that will cover all of the factions. And the reason that's important is because in order to reach the Grandmaster rank, you need to have one skill in the favored list that is at least 80. Sometimes it's a little bit lower, but for the most part it's 80, which is pretty high. It takes a long time to get there. So you want to do that with as few skills as possible to just avoid wasting time. So these 3 skills cover all of the factions. So as long as we can get these 3 to 80, we should have no problem reaching the Grandmaster rank. Blunt weapon, there are some pretty strong blunt weapons in the game, including one that we'll get as a reward for an Imperial Cult quest. Light armor, if we can manage to piece together a full suit of glass armor, we'll be in good shape. And enchant is still pretty useful, even though we're not going to be creating any enchantments. We are going to be using enchanted items quite a bit, and having a high enchant skill means that they'll recharge faster. So, the rest of the skills, we're going to take security so we can get into locked doors and chests. We're going to take illusion in order to get a pretty useful starting spell. We're going to take restoration for the same reason. Shortblade because all of the guilds that care about light armor also care about shortblade. So having this reasonably highly leveled will help advance through the ranks a little bit faster. Athletics, just so we can move a little bit faster, because the starting movement speed in this game is quite slow. And mysticism, because we're going to be using mark and recall pretty frequently. And heavy armor, basically the same thing as shortblade. All of the guilds that care about, or most of the guilds that care about blunt weapon, also care about heavy armor. So having some points in this will make it easier to advance a bit faster.
Very good. The letter that preceded you mentioned you were born under a certain sign. And what would that be?
We are born under the steed for the speed bonus. That importantly puts us above the 35-point threshold required to meet all faction requirements. And also, more speed is obviously very useful when you're trying to get through the game quickly.
Interesting. Now, before I stamp these papers, make sure this information is correct.
Last thing I forgot to mention earlier was that with the Breton, the 2 things that are very useful for us is A, increasing the size of our starting magicka pool, which will make it easier to cast spells to stay alive early, and then cast low-cost spells later in order to train various magic skills. Also, Bretons have a 50% resistance to magicka, which pairs very nicely with an item called the Boots of Blinding Speed, which will allow us to move much faster.
Show your papers to the captain when you exit to get your release.
So we're going to pick up a bunch of items and then put them back down again.
Continue through to the next building and talk to Celisgratus.
Basically, that triggers a tutorial where they introduces how crime works. And if you have the items in your inventory, that guard will take them. But if you pick them up and drop it again, you get to keep them. I actually don't know if it's necessary to pick it up and drop it for that tutorial, but that is how it works in all other cases in the game. Is if you drop the item that you stole when the guard accosts you, you get to keep it. We're going to take all this junk just because we're going to be selling it as soon as we get out the door. We don't actually want any of this, we just want as much gold as possible in order to equip ourselves. And let's see here. Oops, I do not want paper. That. Get all this good stuff. That good stuff.
Your papers, please.
Okay. You can talk to this guy to give him back his ring, and you'll get a disposition boost over here in the trade house. But I'd rather keep the ring because it's potentially pretty useful. So we're going to sell all of this junk that we don't care about. Drew Wax is actually potentially useful later on, so we're going to keep that. Sell that, sell that. This starting loot is randomized, so I do want to quickly check to see if any of these are relevant for later quests. Does not look like they are. So the Drew Wax is helpful. Don't actually need those directions. Cool. So we're going to take this iron warhammer. Pretty powerful blunt weapon for early on. We're going to take some light armor. And is there anything else that we need right now? I don't think there is. Actually, we'll take one of these. We'll probably end up picking up a bunch of those later. So let's try to squeeze a little bit more value out of this. Cool. Set up my quick menu here. Amount 1, 2, 3. I can just scroll through the magic. So get all this equipped. Cool. So, first thing we're going to do is we need to get to Balmora, but before we do that, since we're in the region, I'm going to pick up a few different mushrooms. We need 4 samples for an introductory Mages Guild quest, and all 4 of them grow naturally right in this area. So I'm going to pick them up before I get on the Silt Strider. Sweet. These 2. Let me put this away. Thanks. Ah! Didn't mean to pick that up. Then we need Bungler's Bane and Hypophacia. Should grow nearby. Okay. We just need to find some Hypophacia and then we can hop on the Silt Strider. There's none up there. Let's see. I think if I go the other way. I know there's a swamp right over that way. Don't care about those ingredients. Don't care about anything in there. There we go. So we've got the mushrooms that we need. We'll head back to the Silt Strider and make our way over to Balmora. And while we're out here, go ahead and damage myself so I can start using this guy. Oops. Why did it fail one time? Not sure what happened there. But we're going to head over this way in order to pick up some flowers that we need for another Mage's Guild quest. We need 4 flowers that should all live in this region. We need 1 heather, 1 golden canna, 1 willow anther, and the last is a stone flower petal, which is blue. We should see it along the trail here. There it is. Cool. Alright, now that we're here in town, I'm looking for Revere the Trader. I want to buy a ceramic bowl. That'll be used for another quest later on. And then I want to go to the bookstore across from Mage's Guild and purchase a copy of a rare book called Chronicles of Nushaleft.
Speak quickly, Outlander, or go away.
That'll also be used for a quest later on. So now let's go ahead and join the Mage's Guild. Cool. We're going to ignore Ranus Arthurus and focus... Actually, first we're going to raid this chest. We're going to focus on 2 quest givers in the Mage's Guild. One is Ajira, and the other is Edwin Elber in Aldrun. Got the mushrooms. Okay. Now I'm going to swap out. Did she actually give it to me? Yeah. Swap this out upstairs. Take that, put in the fake one. So take everything while we're up here. Could sell it later. I'd take the chair if I could. Is that the fake one, right? Yeah. Definitely can't open that yet.
Yes, what is it?
Fake soul gem. Cool. Duty flowers. I've got flowers. Duties, ceramic bowl. Here's a ceramic bowl. Stolen reports. Okay, so there's one
Anytime.
over here. And the other is upstairs. It would not have been possible to pick those up earlier because they don't actually spawn until the quest starts. We got stolen reports, very good. And I think that's all the duties for now. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get some advancement. Oh, we also want to purchase Mark and Recall. So we're going to go up to Uranus Arthurus and get some promotions. Cool. Alright, next we're going to head over to Chaos Casades' house. Drop off a package. Oh, now I know why it's not working every time. It's because there's a Morrowind Code Patch implements something that does not allow you to cast enchantments instantaneously. Cool. Alright, next step is we are going to fast travel to Caldera, and then from there we're going to find the Boots of Blinding Speed and equip those so that we can move quickly throughout the game world for the rest of the run. Might be someone at the Tribunal Temple who sells those. Yeah, I'm gonna go check there first real quick. So we do want to have Mark and Recall available sooner rather than later. I'm not gonna waste. I shouldn't waste my time looking for junk in here. After this segment of the run, I'm gonna have to go back and look at the wiki to figure out who sells these spells. I thought there was someone in Melbourne who did, but maybe I was wrong. Mark, perfect.
Yes.
And you have Recall? Perfect. Alright, we got him. So we're going to make Mark number 8, and Recall is going to be number 9. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for an hour to restore fatigue. Place a mark here. This is basically anywhere that's right next to a Mage's Guild transporter is an excellent place for a mark, because then you can recall to any of them, and the distribution of these teleporters across the map makes it very easy to get to anywhere quickly. So from anywhere in the game world, I can recall to this spot, talk to her, and get to basically anywhere else in the game world. So we're going to travel to Caldera.
I see you.
Ah, welcome. What is it, friend?
Steal some junk in here that I can sell. There's a nice alchemy set at the top of these stairs. Take all of this. Let's find the trade house so I can sell this crud. It's fine. Oops. Got buy books, huh? keep the restore health and restore magicka. Don't care about that. That's one of those. Actually, I forget how many Drew wax samples we need, so I'll keep that just in case. So for now. Oh. I guess you're not buying that. What am I selling that's so valuable? I don't even understand. Oh, it's these guys. Okay. Oh, I didn't realize how much money I had available to sell to this guy. Like, why is he? Alright. That. Here we go. Cool.
Anytime you're ready.
Alright, so now we want to leave town north to head towards Aldrune.
Keep moving.
I'm moving, my dude. Alright, cool. And we should see Pemini along the way. It's a level 12 rogue. We can either kill her to get the Boots of Blinding Speed, which would be pretty difficult as level 1 with basically nothing useful, or we can escort her to Narmuk, and she'll give us the boots, which I'm going to opt for that. Let's drop some crap here that I don't care about. That. If I'm going to be keeping anything, I want it to be the valuable stuff. And I'll sell the rest of that junk when we get to Aldrune. Don't care about this barbarian. I think that's her. Cool. Let's do it. Our muck is over this way, so we'll continue along this trail until we find the next signpost. Here we're just going to let the rat attack us so we can improve our armor skill a little bit.
Please be careful.
I'm being careful. It's fine. Alright, let's go. And we will eventually need to kill these guys for another quest. Let's go ahead and do that now. Ooh, he's wrecking me. And if Pemini dies here, that's fine. All we really care about is getting the boots. If she kills the Netch, that also works out for us, since we need to kill this guy for a quest later. Alright. Bingo. Boots of blinding speed. Take that. Take this stuff. Do we care about the axe? Yeah, I'll just take all of it. Here we go! Now I'm going to turn up the brightness to compensate for Boots of Blinding Speed. And we're going to use one scroll of Divine Intervention, which will take us to Aldrun. I cannot read during battle. Okay, very cute. Go. That's right. Aldrun is just north of here, I believe. So I'm going to rest up a little bit. I forget where the communal beds are. Should be a sleeping area in here somewhere. You can see how much of a difference the Boots of Blinding Speed make. Here we go. Rest up. We're not going to have many opportunities to do that in the game. And we'll take use of it, make use of it while we can. All right, there is Edwina. Got that done. Next, we're going to go to Sidrith Mora. Finish that quest. There is Skink.
I hope it won't take too much of my time.
Do that.
Do you want something?
I'm going to travel back to Aldrun. That. And before I do anything else, I'm actually going to place a mark right here. This is a pretty important quest location, and having access to... We're still close enough to have access to the teleporter. Alright, so now... Pick up Chamar Medium. That's our next quest. So we need to open this chest, which we might be able to do with our lockpick. It's pretty low skill level. So I'm going to try a trick right here, where if you have your head touching the top of a cell, the game treats you as being out of bounds, and that tricks the AI into basically not being able to see you. So I'm going to quick save. Let's see if I can make this work. Perfect. So because I was out of bounds, the game thought that she could not see me. I'm going to pick this up along here, just to read it. Could potentially be useful later, but I don't actually care about that. I'm going to practice opening these guys. I don't actually care what's inside, but... Go. We do need to start working on our security skill. Nothing valuable. I'll take those. Alright. So next, we're going to recall back to the start of the quest.
Welcome, friend. The day is yours. What shall we talk about?
Got Chamar Medium. Perfect. Next is Hulin's Hut. We are not yet equipped to be able to deal with this. This quest involves killing a scamp, but in order to kill a scamp, you need to have a weapon that can deal magical damage, since they're immune to physical. We don't have any of those yet. So I'm going to cut it there. Actually, let's see if I can get some advancement. Oh, that's right. I need to improve in some skills before I can advance any farther. So that'll be in our next segment. We're going to probably switch over to a different guild, because we can't get any farther with Edwina until we are able to kill a scamp, which we don't have the equipment to deal with yet. So, put together a segment for next time, and hopefully make some good progress.